Hi everyone and welcome back to Beyond English as we continue to guide you through the AQA Power and Conflict cluster of poetry. This time we are taking a close look at the themes in Robert Browning's My Last Duchess. If this is the first time you've joined us to look at this poem, don't miss out on our two previous videos. The first one taking a look at the context and title, and the second looking at form and structure of the poem. If you've already found those videos useful, thanks for watching them, but sit tight for the rest of this video. As you will already know, themes are such a great place to start when you are making comparisons between two poems. When it comes to My Last Duchess, these are the main themes that could be considered in your analysis. As I discuss each one in some detail, I will also highlight links and crossovers with other poems from the cluster so that you can see where comparisons can be made. So we're going to start with the legacy of art. This is a prominent theme that runs throughout the poem. Much like in Ozymandias, where the statue leaves behind a mark or legacy that outlasts human life, the portrait remains as a reminder of the Duchess's existence. However, the artwork is not a symbol of the Duchess's life or achievements. It is a symbol of female oppression, both in the Renaissance era and in the Victorian era in which it was written. In both of these eras, a woman was seen as an object to control, because if she wasn't, then she was a prominent threat to the masculinity of her husband. In revealing her defiance in his eyes and inability to be controlled, the portrait became the object towards which the Duke could express the vitriolic hatred and jealousy that he felt towards her when she was alive. The sole purpose of the Duke's control over the portrait, with the curtain which he harbours all control over, is to demean her legacy both as a woman and as an individual. An interesting aspect of the poem to note is the reference to a second form of artwork within the poem. In his reference to the Claus of Innsbruck statue of Neptune taming a seahorse, the Duke shares its legacy with the envoy and indicates that he feels an affinity with the Roman god of the sea. The Duke perceives Neptune's absolute power and control of his aquatic realm and its creatures as similar to the power he tried to wield in his own marriage. He saw himself as a god, a divine superior to be worshipped with the highest levels of respect. His humiliation came in the fact that his wife neither saw him as a god or respected him in any way. It is his reaction to this lack of respect, of course, that leads us nicely to the second theme to be discussed in today's video: jealousy and hatred. It is clear that the Duke is filled with spitting anger and utter humiliation due to the behaviour of his late wife. The jealousy he felt for her flirtatiousness and the disgust he felt as she repeatedly overstepped her mark in their marriage seeps through his attempts to disguise his vitriol behind a charming facade. As the poem develops and his jealousy and anger reaches new heights, the Duke becomes aware that this outburst to the envoy is a show of his real, true nature. As soon as he realises what he has done, he reverts back to becoming this charming gentleman once more. Deluded power and pride is another notable theme within the poem. The aforementioned narcissism of the Duke, as he tries to wield control over his late wife, is the biggest indicator of his desire for power. The irony is in the fact that this power is illusory. His wife is dead, so he cannot wield any physical power over her anymore, much like when he failed to control her when she was alive. For the Duke, his pride is heavily linked to this perceived masculinity, and he felt that his wife's behaviour was a huge threat to it. Her wandering eye, the artist's stare, even her smile while not in his presence. And of course the biggest insult is that she didn't feel indebted to him for the gift of his 900-year-old name. The Duke, of course, cannot cope with this humiliation, rejection and disobedience from his wife. His reputation as a powerful male must be protected at all costs, so when he gave orders and all smiles stopped, indicating that he may have ordered for her to be killed, it's clear that he lost all power and control and protected his pride through his vengeance. Now, when we think of poems to compare My Last Duchess to, with this theme in mind, the most obvious choice is of course going to be Ozymandias. As well as the shared narcissism of the Duke and Rameses II, the clearest comparison is their desires for control and for their legacies to remain. While Ozymandias sought to exert his dictatorial power over his kingdom, striking fear into his people, the Duke clearly lacked in holding real power. He failed to control his wife and to take authority. Beyond the comparisons with Ozymandias, the theme of deluded and misguided power allows for comparisons with other poems from the cluster like Tissue and Kamikaze. Use the comment section below to consider what comparisons you could make between these poems and Browning's My Last Duchess. Once again, if this video has been useful to you, you can find a written form of it on our website following the link in the video description below. Join us next time when we take a look at the ideas and language from the poem. See you then.